Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the brand new Razer Phone 2. I'm going to do an unboxing of the goodies that I got at the launch event. I'm also going to give you guys a quick audio and video sample of what you can expect out of this phone. This is TK, let's check it out. Here are the goodies that I got from the event. This is the Razer Phone 2 inside a case. I also have a case for it, as well as the wireless charger for the Razer Phone 2. It is Chroma enabled and RGB configurable, and there's a few modes there that enable us to just get a really good experience. On top of the fact that we actually have a Chroma enabled RGB logo on the back of the phone now. And here we have the box. Flagship gaming, basically the main key points that we got directly out of the launch event. Keep in mind that they're trying to bring in more flagship features into a gaming space with a really game-centric phone. This is a gaming phone. By no means is it trying to be something else. It's trying to give you the best gaming experience on top of the fact that it's trying to give you flagship experience at the same time. A nice little letter from the CEO, and here is the star of the show, the Razer Phone 2 in all of its glory. So first and foremost, you're going to notice right obviously is the fact of the matter is it pretty much looks the same as what we had last year with a few aesthetical differences. We now have a glass back, enabling us to have wireless charging. The logo on the back is also illuminated, which gives us the ability of actually having the customization of Chroma RGB lights in the back. And I'm sure you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely see a lot of the images I took of this device. It just, you cannot stop playing with it. The front-facing speakers are pretty much iconic at this point with the Razer Phone from the first one to the second one, so we kept the same shape, although we are a little bit louder, so that's something that's been updated. The front-facing camera went from a 5-megapixel sensor at f2.0 to an 8-megapixel sensor at f2.0, so an improvement in the sensor. Hopefully we'll be able to check it out, and I'll show you guys what the video quality looks like in a little bit. And of course, the speakers are supposed to be just louder than what we had with the Razer Phone 1. Still 5.7-inch display, essentially 120 hertz, 120 frames per second refresh rate, and it gives a 16:9 aspect ratio, not the 18:9 that's been basically popularized within the last year or so, as they feel like this is the best gaming experience. So the bezels are functional, you have speakers in there, they sound great, and they're really functional in what you can do with them. As far as the back sensors, what we have here is a 12 and a 12 megapixel sensor, except what we have now is a telephoto and a standard lens. The standard lens is at f1.75, the telephoto is at f2.6, and we're able to go all the way to 4K at 60 frames per second as far as video recording, and of course that RGB customizable option. On the left side, we have the SIM tray capable of supporting even Verizon services in the US now, which is really nice. A volume rocker up and down, as well as an SD card support here to expand the 64 gigs of internal storage that we have built in. Now we have 8 gigs of LDDR4X RAM, which is slightly different from last year, so we did have an improvement on the RAM, but we still have 8 gigs, no more, no variant on that. There is a variant of this which should have 128 gigs of internal storage, but this model only has 64. Again, 64 gigs with an SD card is fine by me. At the top, we have basically the antenna bands and just one of the microphones. On the right, we have the power button as well as the fingerprint sensor that's positioned on the right side. So very nice, very functional. On the bottom, of course, we have the USB-C port for charging data as well as audio. As we noticed, there is no headphone jack. So we're still carrying that from last year, and we'll be able to use the 3.5mm, well, the USB-C to 3.5mm adapter to be able to get our audio out. And that has actually a very good DAC built into it as well. Opening up the box, we do have the Quick Charge 4.0 Plus. So this is going to be the fastest quick charge possible. And we're going to put this to test, of course. It is a USB-C powered US plug. And we have that DAC that I mentioned to you guys, 3.5mm headphone jack. Now, the only difference I noticed from last year to this year, if I'm not mistaken, we lost the threading that's over the actual connector. It still feels really good, and it has the Razer logo on one end. And as far as actual performance, we should be expecting really pretty much the same performance. And of course, we have a USB-C to USB-C cable and some materials here just explaining to you what you have. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, right there. The Razer sticker. The other two accessories they gave me was essentially a clear case that I've actually been using, and it's pretty good. Holds up pretty good. I don't feel like it's the best performer, but it's definitely nice. And of course, gives me the ability of using it. It fits very tightly on the case. And of course, I can still see the logo through it, and I can customize it through. So it works really nice, and it looks really good on the phone. But again, I'm really excited about this. The wireless charger for the Razer Phone 2, as not only is a fast wireless charger, but it also has Chroma, as you guys could see. So this is a Qi-enabled wireless charger, so it's going to work with any Qi-enabled device. But one of the main characteristics is the fact that it has 3 coils. So we've seen some with 2, we've seen some with 1. 3 coils pretty much gives you a really good coverage on the back. And of course, base stand, which makes it mean it goes either based or standing up. Of course, configurable using the Razer Chroma underglow, which goes on the bottom. And there's some indication that goes with it. As you're charging, it has different colors. When you're full, it goes different colors. And if it has any issue, it also has an error message. So it's very visual indicators and very quickly able to assess what's going on with the charger. Now, looking in the package itself, we have a little booklet, an actual power brick that works with this, USB-C as well. They do provide a USB-C to USB-C cable, so that's what we're going to use to connect this charger. And then of course, here is the charger. As I mentioned to you guys, you have the ability of using it in a flat position, or if you slide it up and tilt it, well, it's better done on a table, it becomes into a stand. So it's a dual functioning sliding option. The 3 coils are positioned in the back. We have a little Razer logo here. Hopefully you guys could see. It's a little bit hard, but there's a Razer logo in the center. And the RGBs are all positioned on the bottom. There is a button on to initiate it. Connecting it is pretty simple. You connect the USB-C cable in the back, and then right away you see RGB lights. You can actually press the button to turn them off if you don't want them, or press them back to bring them on. And the charger is plugged in and it's not doing anything. For the most part, you can actually see a little bit of a color here. It just has a static color. Green right now means ready. If I put my phone on it and it starts charging, I'll give it a second for it to kick in. The colors actually start changing, and I'll go ahead and try to show you here. It starts changing and it goes into that rainbow effect. And that's basically just charging mode. It automatically goes into that mode. And when it goes into full, means 100%, it turns red, means tells it's done, no more charging needed. You can position it either standing or sideways for media consumption. At any time, the speakers are always facing you and you're going to be able to get the best experience out of that. The launcher on the Razer phone is pretty much the same what we had last year. We had the Razer Phone 1 running Nova Launcher Prime, and we still have Nova Launcher Prime on the Razer Phone 2. Pressing and holding takes us into setting. We even have the theme permeating throughout here, as we have the theme store installed. So a couple of the customization options that we get here on this phone are pretty simple. We have the Chroma customization, gives us the ability of customizing the colors of the Chroma logo on the back of the Razer Phone 2. You can go in there and customize basically the different effects. You have multiples. You have the spectrum, static, and breathing. The static gives you the ability of basically just selecting the picture that you want, or the color that you want. You can notice right there it's red. I can shift it over to blue, and then we can see it right away. Of course, I can shift all the way to green, which is the Razer green, and then you can get that. The best effect, I think, overall between all of them is the spectrum one, as it goes through and it basically changes. But the main benefit, of course, you can customize the brightness of it, as well as the intensity and battery consumption of it here. You can go high, medium, or low. And of course, you can get a kind of a customization or a preview what it kind of looks like in the back, and it's going to change. Overall, that little number that you see in the middle of the display, that's the refresh rate. And consistently, if you notice, as I'm using the UI, it's basically going between 42 here, and I'll go here, and I'm going to go straight up, down. I'm able to easily go up to 120 frames per second as I'm refreshing and moving the graphics around on the display. Now, the theme store is pretty much the same what we've had before. We have new themes, of course, that are compatible with not only the current version, as well as last year's version of the Razer phone. So definitely a lot of cool themes that you can definitely install, and they permeate throughout the UI, so they're not just the normal ones. And of course, you have your own library, one of the ones you have installed. I have the Prism one. I can either apply that or the Razer version, Venom here. And of course, you can apply it, give it a couple of seconds, and it'll go through and it'll put that through in the entire UI, customizing not only the icons, but the backgrounds as well as the launcher. Now, the Razer Cortex app is definitely one of the best ones for gaming. Not only does it have selection of games that are compatible and will work really great on your device, they also have ones that are optimized for 120 refresh rates, 120 hertz here, as well as Razer partners that were basically developed in conjunction to work best on this device. You also have the ability of basically looking at the library, Gear Club, Dragon Ball Legends, of course, Fortnite, PUBG, and of course Gear Club, and of course what we have here, Shadow Legend as well, has been optimized for this device. Last but not least is, of course, Game Booster. Customization down to the game level of what you want to do as far as basically being custom, power saving, or performance measurement. By default, the refresh rate on the phone is coming with 90 frames per second, or 90 hertz, and you're able to go all the way to 120 hertz by turning it on. The battery optimizations that we've seen in this device are able to give us now up to 10 hours of usage, solid usage with this at 120 hertz if you want to be able to keep it at that. Of course, dropping the frame rates will also consume less battery, as the panel itself is an IPS panel. Overall, the UI is pretty much very, very nice. We have Dolby Atmos here, customizations as far as the buttons. Android 8.1 is installed on this with the option of getting Android Pie very soon, which is what we were told. So I'm really hoping, or hopefully we'll get something by the end of the year to be able to play with on our Razer phone. Now, I know you came here because this device has a lot of good things as far as the display. So one thing I'm going to be able to do for you guys is we're going to play a game real quick. This is Gear Club. Now, keep in mind, my camera is only going at 1080p, well, 60 frames per second. So there's no way for me to replicate 120 hertz for you guys. But what I can do here is I can share with you guys this little experience right there. So that number on the screen can be turned on in the developer options and allows you to see what the refresh rate on your display is as you're playing. Overall, the performance on this right now has been running pretty good. Let's go into the game booster. Inside the game booster, I set the performance to be high performance, so we're using a 2.8 frame rate as 120 frame rates when supported. And of course, as you saw in the gameplay where I was, at least, I was basically maxing around 95 frames per second. Depending on your performance, you're also able to basically just see how smooth the refresh rate here, and I'm able to cap it at 107, 110. Of course, Instagram looks pretty good, and a lot of the performance on this device really has to be done in the hand to be able to appreciate the display. Because when you look at 120 frames per second and you go back to like a standard 30 or 60 frames per second display, it's so noticeable. The lag or just kind of the refresh rate on the display is just very noticeable. Of course, the camera app is the other thing that you guys will probably want to look into. The camera app definitely has some optimization. So we have beauty mode, panorama mode, portrait mode for portrait photography. Now we have the the telephoto zoom lens in the back, photo as well as video. Let's not waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to video, and we'll go ahead and do a front-facing and a back-facing video with the brand new Razer Phone 2. So here we have a quick sample of the front-facing sensor. This is an 8 megapixel sensor capable of going all the way up to 1080p, 30 frames per second as far as maximum resolution. Let's switch over to the back-facing sensor that's capable of going all the way to 4K. Switching over to the back-facing sensor, this is a 12 megapixel sensor capable of going all the way up to 4K at 60 frames per second. Although currently capped at 4K at 30 frames per second, so hopefully a future software update will enable this mode for us on this camera. But other than that, this is just a quick sample of audio and video from the Razer Phone 2. And as far as photography, I haven't had that much time to take pictures with this phone with the new update, because the update literally just got pushed out last night. So this is a couple of pictures I took of my son and just basically showing the portrait effect, and it looks decent. I'll have to spend a little bit more time obviously taking more photos of this. So for the most part, if you want to check out my Instagram feed, you're going to be seeing a lot more pictures showing up straight on from the Razer Phone 2. Go ahead and play Alex Scrindo Jumbo by NCS. Overall, the sound on this has definitely been improved, so we're going to go at 100%. I do not recommend you playing it at this level. But before we go too far, now we still have Dolby Atmos optimizations here. So if we press and hold here, we're able to turn on the Dolby Atmos option. Of course, it's on right now, and you can customize it between movie, dynamic, as well as custom. Dynamic is more of the auto tuning, and it automatically recognizes it. Since we're going to be playing music, let's go ahead and turn it on. And of course, we can go in there, go from warm, detailed, as well as off, or we can have balanced sound. And then of course, bass enhancer. A lot of good customizations have been put on the audio performance on this device. One of the other optimizations that we saw as well at the launch event is the fact that the display can get pretty bright. So that's one of the other things a lot of people had concerns with the first Razer phone, that the display wasn't as bright. So what do I think about this device? I've been using it for about a week and a half now, and they finally pushed out the final update last night. So overall, just without the final update, I think the device runs pretty well. We have a decent sized battery, a lot of RAM, a good amount of internal storage, and of course a very workhorse gaming experience mindset built in here. Obviously, we got very fast refresh rate, very fast RAM, very fast internal storage, IP68, louder speakers, brighter display. It's the exact same size display. And of course, we have the 16:9 aspect ratio, which Razer feels is a better experience when you're playing games, as the bezels that we have on the side where they're used for the front-facing speakers are actually just enough to be able to keep the experience just centered right in front of you. I really like the device. I'm really looking forward to diving a little bit more into the camera performance. Initial photos and videos, as you saw with the hands-on, as I did that quick video for you guys, they look pretty good. They look better than what we had last year. Is it a great flagship camera? That it will need some more time to be able to test it out. The full review will be coming out on XDA's channel. This is purely an unboxing, and I did an event recap for you guys in hands-on about a week or so ago after attending the launch event in Hollywood. So let me know in the comments below what you would like for me to check out on this device, specific things that you'd like to test, compare, do things like that, so I can make sure that the review kind of answers all the questions that you guys have about the brand new Razer Phone 2. But other than that, thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. Share this video with any of your friends if you think that they are going to be benefiting from learning about the Razer Phone 2. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next video.